Hello children, welcome to your English class. In this session, we are about to appreciate a poem, The Schoolboy, written by William Blake. You can see in the picture the mood of the schoolboy. Is he happy or sad to go to the school? Yes, he is unhappy. From his face, we can understand the boy is not at all happy. He is not a happy school child. He is not a happy school boy. And the present poem is all about what makes him unhappy. And in the picture, you can also find what? Yes, a caged bird is there and a withered plant. A plant that was totally withered, you can see in the picture. And the boy compares himself to a caged bird or a withered plant. Why does he compare himself to those things? Let us find out in the poem, The Schoolboy. I love to rise in a summer morn, when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! This is the very first stanza of the poem. I love to rise in a summer morn. Who is the speaker? Yes, the schoolboy is the speaker. I love to rise in a summer morn. This stanza gives us the details or the things that the schoolboy likes so much. He loves to rise, he loves to wake up in a summer morn. On a sunny, bright summer morning, he wants to wake up. What for? Not to go to school, only to listen to the sounds made by the singing birds in the environment. So he wants to get up on a summer morning to listen as birds sing on each and every tree. He enjoys the twittering, the tweeting of birds in the vicinity. And he also mentions that huntsman's horn. The hunting people, when they go into the jungle, they go along with a horn. So he enjoys the melodious sounds that are present in nature. What are those sounds? The sounds of birds on every tree, and like skylark birds, he mentions skylark birds singing melodious notes of skylark, and the huntsman's horn sound that is audible from the distant jungle. All these natural sounds make him delightful. He enjoys the company of these sounds. And of course, he wants to spend the whole day enjoying the melodious sounds produced and offered by nature. So, from this stanza, what we can understand, a boy is, the boy here is very much connected himself to nature. He wants to enjoy the company of beautiful living things like birds on each and every tree. He wants to enjoy the simple delights that are offered by nature. But to go to school in a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Then the boy says, it is my wish that I spend the whole day under the cool shade of trees, enjoying the melodious notes of birds and listening to the horn sounds from the distant hunter somewhere in a jungle. But parents want me to go to school. They force me to go to school. But going to school, it sends away all my joy away. But my parents want me to go to school. And the idea of going to school itself takes away all the joy from me. And there in the school, under a cruel eye, whose cruel eye do you think, children? Of course. Under a cruel eye, under the strict vigilance of a teacher, we children are outworn. We get tired. We get tired to sit under the strict vigilance of the teacher in the classroom, and we spend the whole day in sighing and dismay, without any heart, without any interest, lacking interest or finding no interest at all in studies, tired and exhausted, disappointed. We spend the whole day at school under the cruel and strict vigilance of a teacher, and that takes away all my joy from me. So the second stanza of the poem, it accounts for the schoolboy's feelings as he is forced to go to school. It says that going to school on a summer morning drives all the joy away from him, for he is no longer able to enjoy the sweet delights offered by nature. Instead, he, along with other children, has to spend the whole day under the teacher's strict constraints, rules and regulations that curtail the boy's freedom, that pines for simple delights of nature. The boy wants to enjoy nature, but his parents want him to go there, to go to school and learn something from the teacher. That's what he really doesn't like. Then at times I, drooping, sit and spend many an anxious hour. Nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. And he further, in this third stanza, the boy, he further explains his feelings about going to school and spending the day at school. Sometimes, I sit in the classroom. How? Drooping, just leaning against the desk without any energy, as if lost total energy, and spend many an anxious hour like that since morning to the evening. The schoolboy at school, worriedly he sits waiting for the last hour of the school. Nor in my book can I take delight. The boy says he cannot find any happiness or any interest in books, or even in that classroom. Learning bower means classroom. Worn through with the dreary shower means throughout the day that classroom offers him a cheerless atmosphere that does not give him any kind of happiness. Thus, without any spirit, without any energy, worrying about the last hour, worrying about the time he has to spend the whole day, the boy resigns to his desk without any interest. So the third stanza, it elevates the miserable time that the boy and his classmates pass through at school in classroom. Finding no interest in learning in a traditional setup of a lecture room where they remain passive listeners, he just drops down to the desk enervated without any energy. He is worried about the time he has to pass in the unpleasant classroom environs. Thus, he feels like a caged bird that loses its freedom to fly. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? So, this fourth para also gives us the picture of the disheartened child's mental status, the child who is not at all happy to be in that dreadful school environment. He asks his parents, how can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? My dear Papa, Mummy, just think. A bird is there and a bird is born for joy. It is born to fly high in the sky with lots of joy. But if you bring that bird and put it in a cage, can it sing and dance? No. In the same way, how do you think that a child can live happily? A child can have his schooling happily when he had lots of fear in his mind about the teacher and the school environment. The child, if you send me to the school, I only lose my happiness. I only lose my energy and cheer. And I'll remain like a caged bird in the school. So, this fourth stanza, it shows the true picture of a disheartened child. The child opines that his childhood must grant him an unconditional liberty, which is in fact cut off by his parents. So he makes an ardent appeal to his parents to think how he can retain his youthful cheer and energy if he is imprisoned in a classroom under the strict vigilance of a dogmatic teacher. Thus the boy compares himself to a caged bird, because both the boy and the bird is lacking the essence of life, that is, freedom. Oh father and mother, if birds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? This last stanza of the poem is the child's question to his parents, and this stanza also serves as an eye-opener to all those parents who create a lot of stress in the young, tender and soft minds. The boy here in this stanza, he talks about the ramifications, the negative impacts of restriction that he undergoes. And he gives an example here. He asks, "Oh father, oh mother, if birds are nipped," means to cut. If birds, we first on the plants we see birds, and those birds will turn into flowers. So if birds are cut off from the plants and the blossoms blown away, if all the flowers on the plant are blown away by the winds, do we get any fruits on the trees? No. Why? No tree can give us fruits in the summer, because their birds are nipped even before they turned into blossoms and fruits. Their blossoms are removed from the plants, and thus now trees are just unable to give the delicious fruits to us. So here the boy compares himself to the withered trees, the dried up trees, the trees that lost their buds and flowers. And he tells the ramifications, the consequences, the result of the restriction that parents and teachers impose on the young minds. When the trees, birds and blossoms of the trees are destroyed in their growing stage, those plants and trees, they cannot give us any delicious fruits. In the same way, a child whose freedom is curtailed, whose freedom is cut down in his growing age, is also not likely to be a complete man when he grows up. And we cannot expect anything from him when he grows up. That's how the poem, The Schoolboy, serves as an eye-opener, giving a message to the parents who really trouble their children in the name of marks and ranks, and who torture children with unwanted restrictions and rules and discipline. That children, they cannot do anything if they are not given the freedom in their childhood, because it is in their childhood they expect a lot of freedom, and they have to learn everything in a quite natural phenomenon. finding themselves in the beautiful company of nature. Hope you enjoyed and understood the poem. We'll meet again in another session with another lesson or topic. Until then, bye. Thank you.